Hello YouTube and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. You might have noticed last week there was no review, and the reason there was no review, and I have mentioned this before in another video, although that video is going to come out before this, but I'm going to record after this. So crazy life of a YouTuber, very crazy. As I did mention in that video, or I will mention in that video. Oh god, what have I started? We wanted to review the Ferrari 288GTO, which is exactly what I'm going to review today. Why that is on, I don't know. And oh gosh, that's loud. Just setting this up. And we did make a review on this, as I just take this car out. We did make a review on this, but straight after we made the review, the car was updated. So no good. So we've had to redo the review, but unfortunately, with our time constraints, it's only going to be me today, so it's a bit of a shame. But I'll do my best to make sure that this review is a proper review. So we'll start with the specs of the car, and we're looking at the Ferrari 288GTO. As the name suggests, is a 2.8 litre V8 engine. It provides about 400 bhp, and it gives around 500 newton meters of torque. So it's a very torquey car, and it's something that you do have to be very, very well aware of, especially as it is rear-wheel drive. Let me just get it around here. Now, when you do get this car right, you're looking at 0 to 60 of around 5 seconds. That's 62 miles an hour of around 5 seconds, and it goes on to well over 200 miles an hour. I think 217 miles an hour is what it will go on to, as I'm going to crash. Woohoo! That's how you do it. So yeah, it's a very nice car, very, very good specs on it. And the thing is, a lot of people don't know about this car out in the world. They say, well, what's the 288 GTO? Well, if it wasn't for this car, the Ferrari F40 would have never existed. The Ferrari F50 therefore would have never existed. Therefore the Ferrari Enzo would have never existed. And as such, the Ferrari would have never existed either. So there we go. Very, very important car. This came out before the F40, and this is actually the very reason the F40 was created in a sense. What happened is, this car, believe it or not, is a rally car. Or it was designed for rally. I believe, was it 472 of these cars were built, and none of them managed to rally. They were all designed for the Group B. Let's get this car around here. They were designed for the Group B rally stages and the rally championship. Okay. There we go. It was designed for Group B rally, and the thing was, by the time these cars were made, so whenever, what was it, the early 1980s, by the time these cars were finished, Group B rally was banned. And the reason it was banned was because of the death of two drivers, a driver and a co-driver, and that caused a lot of outrage, and they decided to ban Group B because it was a very, very dangerous sport. Now when people think Group B rally, they often think the Audi Quattro. The Audi Quattro is a Group B rally car. So that is the kind of car that this car was meant to be. And it's not something, I wouldn't say, I don't think this car would have gone on dirt. I think this was more road rally, but Group B nonetheless. And when you look at it, you think Ferrari doing rally? That's sort of unheard of. We know Ferrari do racing, they do endurance racing. We know Ferrari do Formula 1 racing, but rally, it was unheard of, and this is what Ferrari wanted to do. Unfortunately, none of them ever managed to get into the race, and all 472 of them, I swear, I'm sure I've got that number right, all 472 of them unfortunately did not race, and they all became road cars, and they became monsters like these. Right. Okay, just need to regain my composure. Okay, so that's a little bit about that car and what is important. What its importance is in history. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a cheat sheet with me, so I can't tell you much more about it. Whoa. Okay. And I am kind of worried about driving this car. I have just come out of about an hour session of Colin McRae. I keep calling it Colin McRae, of Dirt Rally, which should have already gone up. At least half an hour of it should have gone up. And so I'm a little bit mentally fatigued, and I really need to focus here. Anyway, the mod it's on Race Department, and it's uploaded by one of the mod creators, and that's GTO Fire. But he isn't the only one who's made this mod. There have been quite a few people. I'm not going to name them. I'm not going to name them off, but it's been a very a well collaborated effort. And it's different people doing the modeling, different people doing the texturing, the physics, the aerodynamics, and all of that. So it has been well thought out, and I think it does show on. Whoa! Go on. It does show in this that it is very well thought out. I love the evening sun in Assetto Corsa. Right. Now, the mod does have a couple of problems. Oh god. As do I with driving this car. The mod does have a couple of problems, and me driving it is not one of them. One of them is the level of detail is not fully optimized yet. So the level of detail models, as I'm sure some of you are aware, is that the further away the car goes, it changes the model. That way, it doesn't use up too much memory, so it doesn't use up unnecessary resources. And so that's not been fully optimized yet. I believe level 2 and level 3 have not been done. At least I got it back the right way. So that's not been done. As well as that, there are a few texture glitches. I'm sure you'll see them, a few of them cropping up on the steering wheel. Just very little texture glitches. Nothing too dramatic. And I would say that the pop-up headlights don't work, which is what I said in the review that hasn't come out, but straight after that they did have the pop-up headlights working, so they work. Apart from that, everything else on the car is really nicely done. The physics feel very authentic to the car. This car was a terrible monster to drive. It was very difficult. It was prone to a lot of oversteer. It was a rally car for Group B. You know, it was insane. Those kind of rally cars were insane vehicles, and this was no less insane. And in Assetto Corsa, it's no less insane. You have to be very careful when taking it out of a corner. In fact, you have to be careful at any point, including jumps like these. You have to be really careful. Make sure you don't overcook a corner. Make sure you don't catch a bump at the wrong angle, because if you do, it is going to spin you out. And you've noticed that a couple of times already. That is, it has spun me out. Force feedback on it is. I'm really impressed with the force feedback. Actually, it's not strong in the sense that it doesn't cause a lot of clipping. It's not ridiculous or anything, but it's really solid. The car is nice and heavy. The force feedback is really weighty. It feels like I'm working the car, but it doesn't feel like I'm having to overwork to get the car to turn and to do what I want it to do. And it's really important. And I can feel the bumps in the road, as you can probably hear slightly there. I don't know whether the mic is going to pick that up at the angle it's at, but I can feel the bumps in the road, and I can sort of predict what the car's going to do. And that's exactly what you want from force feedback. You want to be able to predict what the car is going to do, because at the end of the day, we're sitting in simulators, and the steering wheel is our only way to actually sort of have an understanding of what the car's doing. We can look at what the car's doing, we can hear what the car's doing, but our only primary sense is actually the feel through the wheel, because we can feel that before our eyes can respond. But I'm not going to go flat out through there, because I don't trust myself to do that. Oh, but I did do it through there, and that's going to cause issues. Nope. Phew. Oh, thank goodness. It's already tired me out. It's a nice car. It is a really, really nice car. So what was I talking about? Yeah, force feedback. I think I've covered that fairly well. The car comes in 4 colours at the moment, but there is a skin template available and provided so that you can, have your own colours, whichever colour you want, or your own different liveries. If you want to make this the rally car that it never was, you can perhaps do that to it. So that is all provided. I'm racing in obviously Assetto Corsa because when you're driving a Ferrari, it generally has to be in red. It just has to be in red. In terms of looks, in terms of the modelling, it's very, very well modelled. It's a well modelled car. Like I said, with the textures there's a few glitches, but with the model I have seen no such glitches. Not in this Beta 2.1 anyway. In Beta 2 there was a few glitches here and there. One of them was even street tyres look slick, and so now there's some tread on them, and so that prevents, well, I guess it doesn't really prevent anything, but it just gives it a more realistic look. So it does make it look a little bit more realistic, and I just saw the skid marks from my previous lap. Yeah, I love taking this car off. Another problem with the car is the sounds. As you've noticed, the sounds sound very familiar to a Ferrari F40. Crash. The car sounds are very familiar to a Ferrari F40, and that is because GTO Fire and his team do not have a dedicated sound engineer. Now they are looking for a sound engineer, so I don't know, perhaps Never Crash or El Mariachi, if either of you can spare some time, it would be very good for you guys maybe to get on board with this and be able to provide sounds. I don't know. One thing I don't know is how difficult it is to provide sounds for something like this. I can tell you about the modelling. I can tell you about how difficult it is to program in physics and suspension settings and tweak them to get them right. But sound is something that is way, way beyond my knowledge. So the sounds are taken from a Ferrari F40. Although I will admit it doesn't sound exactly like a Ferrari F40. There is some difference. There's definitely some difference. And I don't know, I think the Ferrari F40 sounds do suit it well, even though they may not be completely accurate, they do suit it well. And after all, this car did come just before the Ferrari F40, and I believe the Ferrari F40 had almost the same engine as this car. This car had an Evoluzione, so an Evolution model, and there were 5 of those Evolution models made, one of which is still at Maranello. Maranello, and it's when you have a look at that car, and I do recommend that you search this up on Google. Have a look at the 288GTO Evoluzione, and you will see that it looks very, very familiar to the F40 that we've all come to love, and that's exactly how the F40 was born, from that Evolution model. The Evolution model, however, had 600 bhp, while this one has 400, and the F40, even though they said it had, was it 460 bhp? It must have had well in excess of 500. It doesn't feel like 400 and whatnot bhp. It does feel like there is much, much more to it. Anyway, I'm just blabbering on about different aspects of this car. Aerodynamics feel fairly good. Suspension geometry is really good. You can catch slides. Suspension isn't too stiff. You do want to be careful on curbs if you want to get a good lap time out of this car, and you do want to be very, very careful out of corners. The torque that is available in this car can very easily catch you unaware, and once it catches you unaware, you're absolutely gone. So do be careful about of that. Woohoo! Well, so yeah, do be careful of that. Apart from that, I think this is a car thoroughly worth a download, and I will link the download. A link to the download will be in the description box below, as usual. And you'll notice again I'm not using the OV1 HUD. I'm just trialing this after some advice from you guys. Okay, and I think, what should I say? I'm going to have to rate this car, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And I think that once they get the sound sorted, and I know they will, once they get the sound sorted, I think it'll be worth a 9.5 out of 10. It is prone to a little bit of understeer. 9.5 out of 10, but I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 because it's a thoroughly enjoyable car, and who doesn't want more Ferraris? Who seriously doesn't want more Ferraris in Assetto Corsa? I would love to have a good, 20, 30 Ferraris in Assetto Corsa. That'd be absolutely great. Having the 360 and the F430 Scuderia and the 550. Was it the Barchetta? It was the 550 Barchetta. This is a Berniletta, and Berniletta means basically coupe. So that's what this car is. This is a Berniletta. What other cars are missing? Ferraris. The old style, the 250 GTO, which is what this car takes the GTO name from, for being a race car. The 308 GTB and the 308 GTS, which is what this car was. That's the predecessor to this car in terms of styling and bodywork. So those cars would be really nice in Assetto Corsa. And I don't know. Ferraris are just always fun, and the more sports cars and these supercars we get, I think the more fun we're going to have. So I really look forward to that. And of course there is Lamborghini coming officially. So, and I've just spun it again. So there is Lamborghini coming, and I do look forward to seeing Lamborghini. Yep, I do look forward to seeing Lamborghini out, and as soon as it comes out we will be doing a review for them, for each car. Probably three cars a video, sort of how we did the Dream Pack. And I think what I'll do is I'll just leave you to enjoy the rest of this lap. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Download link for this car is in the description box below. Make sure you download it, and subscribe to our channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. And leave a comment in our comments box below letting us know, once you've downloaded this car, how you feel this car drives. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.